What here's a question. What veils or obstructs our capacity or depth of of insight? Like if we were to stop and kind of consider what are the things that veil or obstruct our ability to have clear vision or to see more fully or wholly, um, what would that list sound like? And in Yoga Sutras, he names in this is book 2, sutra through 3, somewhere right in that neighborhood. He lists what are called the five kleshas. Klesha, interesting word. I mean, in and of itself, it sounds, I don't know, there's a ring to it. I hear klesha. And he names five kleshas or affliction, what are commonly translated as afflictions. And these are the things, I guess the good news is there's five of them. The other news is that there's five of them, right? These are the things that have us say suffer or feel anxiety or feel separate or have us become confused or scared or bewildered. Have you ever felt those things? Any of them? Anyone here ever felt anxious? Maybe once? I don't know, 7 times at least, right? So on the one hand, we may think that it's, taxes or the government or traffic that is the source of our malaise or anxiety and these things. But if in any one of those instances, if you go back and replay the tape, you'll see that one of these five or a combination thereof are in the mix, right? It's our perception or interpretation of whatever circumstances are occurring that has us experience it the way that we do. And there's these five sort of tendencies within the mind or built-in sort of MO that create the experiences of anxiety and so forth that I mentioned. And I'm not going to, dissect or go into each of them, but I'll just name the first. In light of our study of insight, the first one is particularly telling. And that's, to use the Sanskrit, avidya. Avidya. So good news is vidya means knowledge, right? Yay. like we have the capacity to know, right? Which, there's a couple sides to that story, but it means knowledge. And let's just garnish it with a little bit of like higher knowledge or insight, right? And when you put an A in front of things in Sanskrit, or I'm told, maybe not in all cases, but certainly in this case, it negates whatever comes after it, like un or non in English. And so it means not knowing. It means, it doesn't mean knowing, it means not knowing. Not knowing, not knowing, or what we might call ignorance. And I don't mean ignorance in a judgmental way, like I am ignorant of, you wouldn't want me doing your taxes. You wouldn't want me fixing your car. I just don't know how that is, just kind of how I'm put together. So there's this not knowing that seems to follow us around. And what is it that's not known? What's the avidya? And it's not knowing our essential nature, our essential nature as, say, a spiritual entity, and rather confusing that nature for the particular and transitory content of the mind. I am my thoughts. I am my thoughts and my feelings, which, as if you were to graph through the day goes something like this and something like that and something like this and something like this and something like this and on like this. So where is the, say, perennial self in all these particular reactive fluctuations? Okay. And how you alter the sort of patterns and assumptions and attachments and sticky spots in the psyche is the great Yoga Sutra Patanjali project. That's what the book's about. Is how do you clean house in this space such that we can perceive our essential nature wholly and completely unobstructed, right? And that to rest in the gateway of not avidya but vidya, knowledge, insight. And I'll leave us with this final kind of reflection here. Is in the Western context, we tend to think of accumulating knowledge as a good thing, and for a lot of valid reasons. Like we have universities and advanced degrees and so forth that we can get. We come here to learn some things too. And there's another option here that I want to mention that commonly doesn't get mentioned. And it's a little bit more in the wheelhouse of Patanjali. And that's the value of unlearning or unknowing or deconditioning the assumptions inherent in the mental space, deconditioning the kleshas, deconditioning the affliction, deconditioning the unknowing, right? And so it's a process of stilling the fluctuations of the mind rather than adding to and fluctuating, adding more speed, momentum into our mental space. And we've all kind of plenty of examples of where that's kind of going at the moment. So it's something of a different event horizon kind of proposition that I can gain more knowledge by decreasing. I can gain more insight, put it that way. I can gain more I will have insight, not even about gaining. Insight will occur in the lessening of the narrative. The narrative. This kind of voice that's narrating the entire life journey. And what happens? That's a little like question. What would happen if the volume on that turned down, turned down, turned down? Like who would you be at that point? Who would you become at that point? Et cetera, until it's very, very still. And in that space, we're told, and it's not too hard to even conceptualize this, there's insight, there's deep insight into sort of the fundamental nature of, say, self and existence and these sort of yoga things.